Welcome to the Beretta Brothers.
We're a podcast and a vodcast. You can listen or watch the episode.
Just go to theberettabrothers.com. That's BARRETTA brothers.com. Please subscribe, rate us.
And we'd love to hear your comments.
Thank you.
We're here. Another show.
I think we turned on a few people, huh?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, we thought dancers would be great at the top, just like any great variety show.
Mm-hmm. And you can even suggest names for our dancer characters.
Mm-hmm. We rehearsed it. What was it? We did Monday and Tuesday. We rehearsed. So
yeah,
we hope you like it.
We like to offer, we like to give a lot of ourself, and occasionally we explore, we go deeper and bring out whatever wants to come out.
And this week it was dancing, so we hope you appreciate it. So if you want to, let's do shameless stuff real quick, because we should get right to the show because it's really fun. Nobody really wants to listen to us. They want to hear Ricky Gervais and they want to hear Matt Vogel. So if you want to go to GeneBeretta.com, you can get good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to go to GeneBeretta.com, you can get good stuff. You can look at his books, get them for your children, get them for your grandchildren, a niece, a nephew. Why not? Great artwork there. Go, GeneBeretta.com.
Go to theberettabrothers.com. If you want to learn more about our show, you can go there and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can join the mailing list and get some extra things along the way. Join the club.
Yeah. Okay, so we shamelessly plugged. And now let's just talk about what's coming up. Our next show. Who is it, Gene?
On the 13th of September, we're going to have Bobby Moynihan.
Moynihan. We're going to have Bobby Moynihan. Very exciting. Hey, Bobby. So, yeah. That's coming up.
So, why waste more time?
We shouldn't.
Who should we bring on first?
I think we should bring on Mr. Gervais.
Welcome.
Bravo.
So good to have you.
It's amazing. Technology. Isn't it incredible?
Is it crazy?
Imagine a pandemic without this.
Really?
Imagine the Black Death. Must have been awful.
Right? If only the plague had cell phones.
Thank God we're having it now.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
People are so excited. I mean, I can't even tell you how, the response has been. People just going nuts. They couldn't wait. It's like normally, there's thousands of people checking in. They want to see what it. Now there's like hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh, that's
amazing. Oh, it's so great. It's so great.
Remember, with that many, there's a percentage of them that are serial killers.
You get that a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sit at the back of my gigs, all the maniacs.
Right.
I'm curious though. What did you do to get so much attention?
What do you do? What is
I
that
know.
all about?
Well, the Golden Globes helps. That gets me publicity for about 3 months.
Actually, you know what? I wanted to ask you and it has to do with that. So, there's a lot of people that are very funny, right? And you are obviously very funny. But what is it that there's clearly people love you to death, and my kind of what I would throw out there is, and I'm curious what you think. Is it people, are they living kind of in a sense vicariously through your naughtiness, your brutally honest kind of perspective on things?
Well, I'd like to think that they appreciate all, the hard work, the talent, the honesty. But it's because everyone's different. I think it's more that if you do something that's your own thing, that's sort of O-turd, that's uncompromised, there's enough people in the world. You need 1/100% of the population to be huge. There's 7 billion people on the planet. I think where people go wrong is they think, I want to please everyone, and they water it down and try and make it safe and anodyne, and they end up not pleasing anyone because there's a million of those people. So if you just go, I'm going to do something that's just slightly different, and I'm just going to do it my way, it doesn't have to be radical. It really can just be slightly different and slightly less compromised, and that has a massive effect because they're looking at something they haven't quite seen before, and honestly, it just seems like a no-brainer to sort of do your own thing and don't try and please people. Do your own thing, and you will create a niche. There is enough people to go, oh, that's, you know. When I first did The Office, I knew that I would rather it be 1 million people's favourite show of the year than 10 million people's 10th favourite show, because that doesn't last. It doesn't resonate. And they're the floating voters of art. They watch 10 other shows like that. But if you do something that's just particular to you and slightly different, people are drawn in. They go, I haven't seen that done before, or not quite like that, or not in those proportions.
But what is that thing that you excuse me, that's unusual? I mean, were you like a kid that people would go, hey, I dare you to do that, and you did it? Like, were you a guy that was willing to kind of push?
I don't think I did that. I just think that I didn't really see those barriers that are put up. Like, you shouldn't make fun of the teacher or the parent or the. I think, well, no, you should. That's exactly what you should do, because it gets a bigger laugh. It gets a secret laugh. Yeah. You know, I like to be at the back of the class doing that. You know, so I always thought, and people say, oh, it's you know, brave or whatever. Well, it's not brave. I'm not a brave person. Real bravery, you know, put me in a room with a spider, or you know, say you've got
the bat out of the attic.
No, but I was always verbally brave. I just thought, well, this is funny, and I think that that's why I'm so keen on free speech, because that's the you know, the petri dish, I think, of ideas, is just saying stuff that's on your mind, opinions, looking into it, following the evidence. You know, I had a science background, and so there's you know, there's an analytical sort of side to comedy where you want the premise to be based on truth, and you want it to be sort of a foundation, even if it's silly or surreal. There's always got to be some sort of level of truth or recognition. I think honesty. I think people like honesty. We like it. We laugh at kids when they say the truth, even though they shouldn't. We like it because we know they don't know it's wrong or care. We like old people when they've got nothing to lose. We love that honesty. So back to your point, I think, and I think I use that sort of in Afterlife, where the premise of it was, imagine you lost everything and you were going to kill yourself. You didn't care anymore, but something stopped you. The dog was hungry. Then you think, okay, if I'm going to live, I was going to be dead now, so everything's a bonus. And I've always got death to fall back on, so I'm not scared of anything anymore. I can do anything I want. I can say what I want. And I think the seed of the idea not only came from the drama of it, the investigation of grief and losing everything and what would you do, but also it was the beginning of this stifling fear that people had to not say the wrong thing and be cancelled. So I thought, well, what if you didn't care? What if someone said, well, you shouldn't say that, and you go, oh, I'm going to kill myself tomorrow, so what the fucking difference does it make? That was it. It was like a superpower. But it was all about sort of free speech. And I think you're right. I think in that case, people live vicariously through Tony's candor, because we all want to say what we want sometimes, and we just can't. Even if I'm going to say what I want from now on, but then you don't want to lose your job, you know, or you don't want to get beaten up. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to upset your so there's all these pressures to not act like a psychopath, even though it might be funny for a while. But there are consequences to free speech, you know, and that's everyone thinks you're an arsehole if you go too far, or you know, you might say the wrong thing. So you're right. I think when I stand up somewhere like the Golden Globes, and people at home, they see that I'm trying to amuse them. I'm not trying to pander to the 200 people in the room.
Right.
I'm making it a spectator sport. Those people at home aren't winning awards. They're not millionaires, you know. So I've got to tease the people in the room. And let's not forget, this is not a room full of wounded soldiers. You know, these are the most privileged people in the world, winning an award on top of being paid millions to run around in rubber costumes, right?
Well,
so
you know, no, I was just gonna say, you know what I think too that people enjoy too watching at home in that situation is that you're amusing yourself in a way too.
That's exactly right.
They enjoy that you're taking the piss out of them, and you're enjoying it more than probably the people at home. They're like,
that's always what I've tried to do. I've always tried to have fun all my life from an early age. I didn't care whether I was the one making the joke or laughing at someone else's joke. I just wanted to be surrounded by funny people.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about enjoying yourself, because I think if you're enjoying yourself, you can't fail. People might not like the joke, but so what? You've laughed. You've won. People can't go, I don't find it funny, and nor do you. I go, yeah I do. I'm winning. I find it funny.
Take that laughter back. Take that laughter back.
I'm having a good time. People can't argue with that. They can like it or not like it, but they can't deny me a good time.
Did you share, I know when Billy and I were growing up, two big influences for us, which had a definite healthy amount of irreverence, were the Beatles and Python. And I took a big cue from both of those groups.
Well, I was too young for both of those things, really, but I had older brothers and sisters. So I think I was appreciating them and laughing at them earlier than I should. Do you know what I mean? I don't think I really appreciated Monty Python and the Beatles at 10 years old, but I could see my older brothers and sisters. So I sort of got into them that way. Like with Python, I liked the Ministry of Silly Walks. I probably didn't get the satire, you know. But and the Beatles, they were on the radio and they were pop songs, and I liked, you know. So, and in a weird way, I don't think either of those were influences. I think your influences, of course, they were. You can't deny that they were around. But then you find your own thing, and I think a bigger influence than Monty Python was Fawlty Towers. That's when I first thought, this is an amazing craft. The performance, the writing, and that was a big influence to me in the sense, the business model, to put all your eggs in one basket. Write, do 12 and leave it. Move on to your next thing. So that was a big influence. I also think it's a very an interesting character, because it was Basil Fawlty was on the cusp of that blue collar, white collar world. He wasn't quite middle class enough. But he looked down on peasants. It was a funny sort of thing. And all our sitcoms were about class, but that one played with it a little bit more. That one, you know, and I was fascinated with that, you know, the end of the mid to late 70s.
And he also is, that writing is also rooted in reality and truth. That's where it feels like that's where it's grounded, right?
Well,
and,
it's a
and
man
the craziness comes out of that.
Yeah, he's not trying to be funny. He's angry.
Right.
He thinks he's not happy with his lot, you know, which is a lovely comic character. He thinks he deserves better. He's that he has that pretension, and he thinks he's surrounded by idiots, not seeing that he's an idiot. Because it's fun. And that's a very good point. Someone trying to be funny, like in real life, isn't as funny as someone not trying to be funny. Someone trying to be taken seriously is always funnier. Someone who doesn't want to be laughed at, that's always funnier. And that sort of taught me the reaction as well, because early comedy, it had people being stupid, but other people not really reacting to it, like it was a room full of idiots. Whereas in real life, what's funny for me, like a tramp dropping his trousers and doing a little dance in the street, that's funny. But if I look across the road and I see a man in a suit and a bowler hat looking, disapprovingly, that's the funnier bit for me. But this guy's annoyed at this tramp. And Laurel and Hardy set that out. Again, they both thought they would be better off without the other one. One was sort of happy and pretentious, and the other one was an idiot. But he was not the one who ended up in the duck pond. The pretentious one did. The people fell in. He was quite happy. It's the satisfied fool and the dissatisfied Socrates. And those are the two big staples. And you've got to choose which one you are. And with Brent, he's a satisfied fool, Whereas Andy Millman in Extras was a dissatisfied Socrates. He knew his lot and he didn't like it. It was annoying to him.
The most hysterical moments for me with Brent is when he's being interviewed, he says something, and it's those split seconds afterwards where you see all the insecurity come in. He realizes, what the hell did I just say? Did they like it or did they not?
Exactly, and it's about that character, because it's a fake documentary, because we know he's trying to be discovered, he's trying to get affirmation from the world. Everything's funnier. If that was just a sitcom, Shot Eye of God, it'd be quite funny, I guess, but it would be a bit surreal. But once you know this man is trying to be famous, it all slots into place. He's trying to be loved. And he's got that terrible love-hate relationship with fame where he keeps going back for more. He thinks, this time I'll show the world I'm a great lyricist. This time I'll show the world I'm funny. This time I'll show the world I'm a leader of men. And of course he gets caught out and the fame machine stitches him up. They put that bit in, because that's exactly what a real documentary would do. A real documentary wouldn't go, oh, he made a bit of a fool himself. Let's leave that bit out. They go, come on. I just spent half a day watching a little clip, right, on Twitter of a man who's about to play guitar and falls off his chair.
Yes, we just saw that.
It's incredible.
Because
I can't stop watching it.
I saw it.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Because he didn't want that to happen. Anthropologists say that the first bit of humor, was one caveman seeing another caveman hit his head. Because that's empathy. That caveman knows that other caveman didn't mean to do it. And he knows it hurts because he's done it. And that is what comedy is. It's empathy. It's putting us in their shoes. So as soon as that man says, here's a song, he starts going back. He thinks, I can save this. It makes it worse. He stays still because he doesn't want to lose his guitar. And he shouts, fucking hell. The dog comes in first. The husky goes, then the wife comes in and she says, what have you done? Falling off your chair? Yes, I have.
Take the guitar.
All right. See, and again, we've just talked about lots of the greatest comedy of all time: 40 Towers, Monty Python, Laurel and Hardy. But a bloke in the north of England falling off his fucking chair, right? We've watched that 10 times today.
Did you see? Speaking of that, have you seen The Angriest Guitarist in the World?
It's my favourite thing. I wasted a workshopping session for the Afterlife one because some of the cast hadn't seen it. I said, well, watch this. And we watched The Angriest. There's 2 as well. But the best thing about that is his mate who's filming it is winding him up. He goes, have another go. So that fucking guitar's making you look an idiot. Have another go. Again, he's not trying to be funny. He doesn't want to be laughed at. That's what's funny.
So defeated. My time is off.
Hey, you know what?
He hits his fingers.
And in part two, doesn't he stamp on it and crush it?
Smashes the guitar. It's a lovely bit of editing by his mate. He has another go, and then you just see the smashed guitar.
Oh my god! God. Hey, so we promised, that we would let some of the viewers ask a question. Gene, do you have one that you can from it?
I do. Ready? This is from Leslie Sutcliffe, and she said, what made you decide to do a live broadcast on Twitter during lockdown, and did you ever think that it would help so many people get through lockdown as it has? And you even launched a beer that helps dogs. Amazing.
Yeah, there it is. In fact, there it is. It's in America now as well. It's Brewdog, and all the profits go to rehoming homeless dogs.
Cool.
So yeah, that came out of me talking about I was drinking it anyway. Cheers. And they got in touch and said thanks for the shout out, and we're going to do this because one of the big things actually on everything that I do is animal welfare, and it's one of the few things that's very, very close to my heart in terms of any sort of campaigning. It's always animals. And the quick answer is I'd like to think that people thought I was doing it for them and trying to save society, but I was doing it for me. I thought I've got some time on my hands. Well, why not? It's what I do. Lots of people were doing walks for charity and stuff, and I thought, I've got free time. My job is to entertain. So I started doing them, just popping up. And the reason I did it sort of live as opposed to sort of doing a podcast is because I did want to connect directly to the public. Things like this are great, but it's us talking and they're listening in. Whereas on my thing, they send in, I'm talking to them and it's live,
Right.
So it really feels like I pop into their home for half an hour. And it's the most relaxed and real I am, I think, because I'm just saying the first thing that comes into my head, and I've got to keep talking. So it's really sort of free and honest, and it's almost therapeutic just to talk for half an hour, and I pretend to moan, and I go, the questions are mental, and this is a cat and a dog, it's just a bit of fun, isn't it? But I really enjoy doing it, and more
we do
and more,
share.
I think
we do a share Q&A.
It's just fun, and it's nice to connect with fans, and I appreciate fans more and more as I get older. More and more, because I realise that it's because it's what it's all about. All the awards, reviews, all those things. It's nothing if people don't watch it and engage. That's why you get those things, because people, there's a market.
And that's it with the Muppets. It's all about the people that are been following them for 50 years, and love them. I mean, that's why we do it. There's no other reason.
I don't think I've told you this, but I said it in a few interviews that the Muppets were a bit of an influence on me, because that's the first time I saw the little guy being able to have a go at the big guy. So, and it was John Cleese, being given a bad dressing room and being disrespected by these creatures who didn't care who he was. And I love that. And I sort of did that with extras, and now I do it with, at the Golden Globes. And I love that. I love that answering back. I love the little guy. I love that, popping that pomposity. And so that, again, that was a big influence. And I also like the fact that it was a lovely world, that they were trying their hardest, and they're all sort of losers, but they've got each other, so they win.
That's all they need.
Losers are funny. There's nothing remotely amusing about a winner, nothing at all. So the struggle is the fun bit, and that's why we're with them. And the first time I got to work with one of them was Elmo on Sesame Street, which was great.
Kevin,
and
brilliant.
Again, absolutely great. And the outtakes of that is me just teasing Elmo, because I love the fact that he's an innocent. But I did, the thing I did there was Elmo not knowing who I was or caring, which I think is and me getting angry. I go, I am a celebrity. Are you Brad Pitt? No, I'm not Brad Pitt, but I'm still a celebrity. And I get angry with this little fuzzy thing. And then, of course, getting off with the Muppet film, just a joy from beginning to end.
What a blast. You know what, can we just, Gene, will you just show this? So do you remember doing this? We were, I don't even know, because Pepe and you never had, I don't think we ever had a scene together or anything, but
no.
Remember we just wanted to do something silly for Twitter. It was like when you wanted to send something out, we wanted to do something about nothing.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, where I'm sort of reading something and he just comes along and goes, "How are you doing?"
Yeah, you want to see? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yep.
That's it.
Right. Yeah. What I like about that is there's nothing in that sketch that suggests there's anything abnormal about a human sitting with a king prawn. That's what I like. It's above it all. There's no sort of like, isn't this wacky? Isn't this funny?
Shooting a movie.
No,
they're just
that's Pepe. That's Ricky. There's no big deal. I love that. I love equalizing species. I think it's really funny.
Oh man!
And I told you that my two favorite Muppets of all time were Robin and Pepe.
I thought you were going to say Constantine, because I know you loved him.
Wow, Constantine since the movie.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Because I didn't know of Constantine was a brand new Muppet.
Right.
But yeah, throughout the movie, Constantine became my best friend. I'd sometimes, after the movie, think, wonder what Constantine's doing.
Very close.
That's great.
I know. I know. Sometimes I probably didn't even look at your guys' faces. I'd talk to whatever Muppet.
That's typical. Typical.
But that's how it should be. You know, I tell this story, like there are certain actors who we work with that just are in it right from the start. Their eye contact is with the Muppets. There's like been a few where they haven't, like Tony Bennett was fascinated with the shapes and the colors and the design, because he's an artist by he paints and all that. So he had a hard time connecting immediately with the characters. He was more like, "Oh, that's beautiful," like, "Don't, Tony, let's do the scene."
I'm there.
You immediately were. Yeah.
I wish. I don't see the people. I see the same on Twitter. When I'm talking to a cat and a dog, they can't annoy me because I think, well, there's the cat and a dog, there's a picture and everything. This is a dog. This is a dog tweeting me.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah,
I love playing. I think that's the best thing about this job, that we get the chance to play. I don't know when it'll stop. I'm going to be being stupid when I'm 80. There's no doubt about, if I live that long, I'm going to be being a twat when I'm 80 years old, because that's what, I think it was. I think it was George Bernard Shaw that said, we don't stop playing because we get old. We get old because we stop playing. And that's lovely. But again, to be doing it for all ages and playing with Muppets all day, that's an amazing job. That's an amazing. Some people risk their lives. Some people, they're soldiers.
Look what we're doing. Yeah. I'm a grown man who plays with dolls.
Well, there was a time when Fozzie was drowning and Billy ran into the ocean and risked his life to save him.
Yeah, well, yeah. Someone said to me once, "You love animals," though. They said, if there was a neighbour drowning and a dog drowning, and you could only save one of them, which one would you choose? And I said, that neighbour had better never have pissed me off.
But that's the thing too. Like, there are so many outtakes of you just cracking up from that movie. Like, just you and Constantine trying to get through scenes. Was
honestly,
my favorite.
I never got bored with it. I never got bored with a frog that could talk Russian. That's incredible. And I did all the junkets with and I hate junkets. Everyone hates junkets.
Yeah.
Go in a room for 6 hours a day and to hear the same questions. But as soon as I had a frog next to me, I was loving it, because he could insult the journalists.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and I'm just laughing and goading him on. So the junkets were fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, time is just like flying. Are you okay for a little bit more? Would you mind going a little bit more? Like
yeah,
5 more? 5 more?
Yeah.
Let me just do, Gene, do you want to do a question or do you want to?
Okay. This is from Scott Joy. He says, as a widower, I find Afterlife moving and meaningful. What inspired you to develop the series? And do you have a sense of how many seasons of it you'll be likely to create?
Well, the influence, as I said, it was, I suppose, that cancel culture coming in and everyone suddenly worried about what they could say. Social media, like if you were mildly left-wing on Twitter, you were suddenly Trotsky. If you were mildly conservative, you were suddenly Hitler. If you were a centrist, you were a coward, and they both hated you. And people stopped saying things because they just thought, oh, forget it then. People were scared to give their opinion. So there was that side of it. I wanted this superhero who could say what he wanted. So that was one side of it. The drama came from, where would he get to that point? And the concept came first. Usually character comes first in sitcom, particularly with me, and it's usually my character. So David Brent existed before The Office. Derek existed before Derek, and you find a place to put them.
Yeah.
The concept came first, rather like a movie, like The Invention of Lying or something. And it was, if you lost everything and you had nothing to lose, you could say what you wanted. So that was the idea. Then I had to think of what that would be. What is losing everything? And it was your soulmate, your life partner. You put everything into it. You didn't care about anything except this love of your life. And so that was where the idea came from. And more I explored that. And after the first series came out, I'd never had a reaction like it. And I don't just mean the size of the reaction. I mean the emotional response. People would come up to me on the street and write me letters. My agent got 300 letters. That never happens. No one writes letters anymore. But it was people telling their personal story of grief. And I realized that everyone's grieving and that they hadn't seen that before. And they liked it. They liked seeing someone explore it because they were going, that was me. I'm not abnormal. That was me, Yeah. And that's why I didn't make him better. Because it would be disrespectful. You don't just snap out of depression or grief. So then in the second series, I made it more of a study of how does he feel? What's he doing? And I made him go through the 7 stages. We hit the ground running in the first one. Anger, denial, shock. And then he was going through negotiation. He was sort of saying, okay, if I'm going to stick around, how am I feeling? But how am I going to feel better? What's going to make me feel better? So that was the idea. And to answer your question, I've pretty much decided I'm just going to do one more season, which is still more than usual. It's an hour more than usual. So it's going to be like, 8 hours. 8 hours of television I've achieved again.
Great.
That's enough. I think I treat my sort of things like 3 movies, 3 stages. The Office did 2 series and a special. X was 2 series and a special. Derek, 2 series and a special. This is slightly different because I don't think a special's quite appropriate to it.
Right.
Because it's about a man's journey. I think that's enough. Yeah.
Oh, well, I can't wait.
Yeah, I love it.
So so here's my little part of the question. I know that you have a great relationship with Christopher Guest.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, and maybe I'm already answering my own question, but I feel like, we're talking about the honesty and acting that is, and comedy that's rooted in reality. Is that your kind of equal admiration for each other, do you think?
Well, I'd say before, during, and now, Chris is my biggest single influence because not only is Spinal Tap my favourite comedy film of all time, but he sort of became a mentor as well. Like I would call him up when I was starting out, and I knew that. And so I remember once they wanted me to do one of those screenings where they have like 40 people from the Valley and give you notes on your movie that you've cut, and then you go and change it. And I remember saying, I'm not going to, I didn't do it. And I phoned up Chris and I said, I don't want to do it. He said, well, why would you? He said, if they're helping you edit it, next time you should ask them to help you write it. And I just thought, that's brilliant. And he told me a story about Rain Man, where one of the comments from the focus group was, I enjoyed the film, but I was a bit disappointed because I was hoping the little guy would snap out of it by the end. So he told me that story and I thought, right, I'm not. Again, I like Chris because he's an idiot like me. He's just silly. You can't go out with him without him just doing something stupid, pretending. Like if you're waiting for him in a restaurant, he'll come into the restaurant and look around, right? And the waiters are going, and he'll walk past you, and he'll look at you, and they'll go, and I'm going, oh, like that. So he can't. He has to, and then he'll laugh, right? So he's a child. He's a big child. And really smart, and again, really honest and really sweet. There's a humanity to it. We like losers. He's the biggest Laurel and Hardy fan that I know, apart from me. And it's just the sweetness. It's just the sweetness and the affection for the characters. But we love and hate all the same things. You know, that sweetness and honesty, and we hate pretension and arrogance, and so all that mixed up in these lovely little flawed characters. And I think I've like him, I've started going towards ensemble actors. I've used the same ones over because I know what they can do and stuff. He's been a huge input and a friend, of course. You know.
Yeah. Do you know how many people are going to watch this and write a treatment for a happy sequel to Rain Man?
Yeah, exactly. It would have been good, wouldn't it? He just takes a little pill.
Touches foreheads with Tom Cruise.
And they're both in Mission Impossible 12.
Have you ever seen Billy Crystal's "Don't Get Me Started" by any chance?
I don't think so.
It was a thing. I think Rob Reiner directed it, and it's about Billy Crystal is getting ready to do a concert, and he has these guests at the mansion where they're going to rehearse. And Billy Crystal plays Sammy Davis Jr. He plays Buddy Young Jr. He plays all these different characters, but Christopher Guest is the choreographer. And it's before what's the character's name?
St. Clair.
And it's like I think the beginnings of Corky.
I want him to, when I'm with him, I want him to do. I must be like an annoying fan. I want him to do Corky or Nigel, and now and again he has to slip into it. Right, just I absolutely love it. I love that. Oh God, he's I can't remember your question, but whatever it was.
No, it wasn't a question. It was just I just didn't know if you had seen the. Oh, it's called "Don't Get Me Started."
I mean when we started on Christopher Guest. I can't remember why we started.
You answered it.
Guest.
You answered it. Fine. I'm sure. Yeah. But you know what, Gene? Maybe instead of doing the pick thing, I think somebody called in. Do you mind seeing who this is? Do you see it?
Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Come on in.
Oh, you're a little too close. Can you back up, please? You're too close.
Oh my God.
Close. Who is this?
Oh my God.
Barbara. Why did it say Barbara?
Is this the right call?
Oh my God. Here? Constantine.
Oh, Ricky Gervais, you are here. How are you, baby?
How are you?
I'm okay.
Oh my God. Where have you been?
Well, I've been in this little sound booth, which is really just cardboard box that I stuff with carpeting, and this is where I give my acting class. This is where I do it. Yes,
oh my God.
I do online acting classes.
And Ricky, teacher.
That's right. And Ricky, you were auditing the class, but I have not seen you since the first week. What happened?
Are you still? I mean, because if you remember, in the film, I was Ricky Gervais, right? And I played. I was acting, and I played a guy called Dominic. Nothing like me. It was an agent. But you're an evil Russian frog, and you just played an evil Russian frog.
But yes, that is true. But you know, sometimes you have to look inside your little tiny shriveled up frog heart and think, I got to make a change.
So you decided to become an acting teacher?
That's right, Bill.
Wow.
And how's the pandemic been treating you? Are you worried about it?
Like I say, I'm inside. I'm staying in this box. I'm at someone named. I'm at Barbara's house. Barbara lets me use her computer, and so she bring me food. She puts it under. She slides it in. And so I have a couple of flies. God. And but you know what? You should sign up for my acting class. It is the Stanislavski method. And you will love it.
Listen, come on. Let's do something together. Let's do a podcast, a frog cast.
Right now?
Frog cast.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You want to do it now? Yeah. We can just take over the show from these two schmucks.
How about a lily pad cast?
A lily pad cast.
No,
Thoughts on Bill's joke, Constantine?
No. What is stink? It is a stink. that joke is a stink, Bill. Gene. Gene.
What?
Gene, you are quiet. Why are you not saying anything, Gene? Bill, let you talk.
All right.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara.
Absolute joy.
Why are you calling me Barbara?
Well,
were you listening in? Were you listening in when I was saying you're my new favourite Muppet?
Yes.
Yeah,
I hear everything.
I'd never heard of you before.
No, that's because I did not exist.
I loved Robin and Pepe, right? And then I met you, and then you became my favourite Muppet of all time in in about 3 hours.
Yes. Did you hear that, Barbara? He is mine.
But hey, Constantine,
what?
When someone gives you like a compliment or like that, what is that little phrase you use a lot? It's just 2 words.
Oh yes. Who cares?
Do you remember?
It's a way to protect myself.
Do you remember when we used to gang up on Walter and I used to stick my finger in his throat because it made him cough?
Those are some of the best days of my little frog life. Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. I still don't know what the little frill is around your throat. I've never really...
It is my collar. It is my collar.
It's a collar, is it?
Yes.
You look like a Chippendale, so you wear a little collar, but nothing else.
That's it. I work in the nude. Except for the collar.
Oh dear. Right.
Well,
we can't top that. You can't top an evil Russian frog.
No. It is good to see you, Ricky Gervais.
Lovely to see you, Constantine. Let's do this again.
Thanks for stopping
by. In 10 years.
Yeah.
How long do frogs live?
Thank you, Constantine.
How long do you live?
I don't know. I think I'm past my time.
You've had 2 lives. You were a tadpole, weren't you?
That's right. Then I drop tail and
get legs.
I think it depends on the diagnosis of the mole.
Yeah.
Is it? Has it changed?
It's the same.
It is the same. Yes, it is same.
All right. Thank you, Constantine.
We'll see you.
Amazing.
Bye.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who's that idiot?
I don't know.
On the right.
Just some guy that jumped into the shot, I think. That's photobombing, I think.
Wow. Wow, that was an absolute treat.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. It was for us. Really appreciate it.
That was great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You take care. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was great, right? To have him and Constantine reuniting.
Yeah.
That was so great. Constantine is hysterical.
He was really hysterical. I haven't
Oh my God.
heard from him since then, since Muppets Most Wanted, right?
No, I don't know. Maybe we could ask, it would be great if we could ask Matt, maybe,
what could we do to get Matt on?
do that thing where you do the thing. Remember you got me when you could do Kirk?
I forget about my magic fingers.
Yeah. Can you do that? You can't bring Matt.
Push. You need to concentrate, please. Ready? Matt.
Hello.
Hey.
You're
Hey, guys.
here.
How's it going?
Hey. Good. How are you?
I felt some sort of pulling. It was a pulling sensation.
It's Gene. I don't know what he does, but I'm so happy you were in front of your computer at the time.
I know. I was.
Who knows?
And had headphones
where you could have been.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You could have been in the bathroom or something.
I could have. Well, who says I'm not?
Well, that's true.
What are you sitting on?
You don't know what I'm sitting on.
We have a question. We were just pondering. Have we seen Constantine since Muppets Most Wanted?
Yes. There have been a couple of things with him. Little social pieces usually.
Yeah, social media stuff, right? I was trying to remember.
A few, but not a ton. There's not been
Right.
a ton since the movie. We did a lot when we were promoting the movie.
Yeah.
But not a ton since.
I pitched his acting classes for Muppets Now, and I know it's on the roster. I don't know if we're going to get to do it, but I think that would be great, especially like online classes. I think it'd be so much fun. You know,
that would be a lot of fun.
And have real celebrities as his students.
Yeah.
I think it'd be so great.
I fear to think what his true method is.
Yes. Stanis Totsky.
The Stanis Totsky method. But not sure.
And we just had Ricky, and he has these great master classes from his bathtub that he teaches. Have you seen those?
I have not. I've seen that he does little lives. I've seen that he's dubbed live streams. Is that what it is on Instagram? Is he in his
it's a different thing.
A number of things, but he has some acting master classes, which is maybe like 10 seconds long, but they're really hysterical.
Yeah. You'd love them. You got to see those.
I will look them up.
Thanks for coming and doing this with us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
I miss playing with you like in person. I know we've had a few opportunities to do things online and stuff, but
yeah, and we laugh a lot, but it's so much more. There's just something about it when you're live. That's
I don't get to pinch your hiney. I don't get to
just punch me every once in a while.
Lick your cheek occasionally if I can.
Yeah, sniff my shirt.
Sniff your shoulder. Shoulder
like
kisses.
Yeah,
our shoulder welcome kiss. Oh, that's something people don't know. Will you tell people about how we say hello to each other?
Well, the Dave.
The group. The Dave Goals.
Well, yeah. So I mean, there is a video on my YouTube channel about the Goals greeting.
Yes, please tell people where they can.
And this is so you can go to you can probably look up Goals greeting on YouTube. I'm sure that's what it is there. But Dave Goals came up one time. Actually, I think, truth be told, I was the one who came up to Dave, and I don't know why, but I just was coming up to him, and it was completely innocent. But I reached across his shoulder so that my arm was across over his chest, and I patted him. I was like, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" And he was like, "What's the deal with that?" He thought that's the new greeting now. It's kind of it's polite because you're saying, "Hey, how are you?" But it's also pushing somebody away because your arm is crossing in front of them. And we called it the Goals greeting, and now every time we see each other, we just kind of do the Goals greeting.
But there was a previous greeting. Were you not a part of the previous one?
I know what you're going to do, but I was not part of that. But I do know what that is.
We go in and you kiss the shoulder.
On the shoulder, because that's just
you each take the right shoulder. Hi, how are you?
I'm not sure if we can do that nowadays.
No.
Someday.
Let's find out a little bit about Mr. Matt Vogel, shall we? Gene, do you want to? Gene,
sure. Where do you want to start?
I want to go way back. I want to go way back for a minute.
All right.
Okay.
Because Gene and I, obviously, we're brothers.
Yes.
How many siblings do you have?
Now you're telling me?
Yeah.
Sorry, Gene. Sorry about that.
How many siblings do you have?
I have one brother. He's younger than me. He's 3 years younger than me. Oh, there he is, right there. Yeah, that's right. So that's me there with the Rolf puppet, looking like we've just woken up. And this is Christmas morning at my grandparents' house. I remember this is a Christmas morning. And there's my brother Jason, and he's got the Kermit the Frog puppet. When we were kids, I was really into Muppets.
How much of a difference again?
He's 3 years younger.
So we're four. We're four. So it's very similar.
Yeah, pretty similar. Except I was the one. I was the guy who would rope Jason, my brother, into doing all the puppet shows with me. So that's kind of, I was the gene of that scenario.
Does he still like? Excuse me. Sorry. Does he still like the arts or performing, things like that?
He is not in the arts, but he does enjoy it. He enjoys them, but that's not his thing nowadays.
Okay. Right. So you were.
Don't ask me what he does, because I don't know how. I know. It's one of those things where, like, he said, "Yeah, I'm a flangeflu," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're a flangeflu." I don't know what that is. That's great.
Oh, wow.
It's like he's a project manager. Let's just leave it at that.
All right. Very good. So were you always into puppets, or were you just into acting? What's your first, like, do you remember the first kind of thing that inspired you to want to entertain people? Was it about puppets? Was it?
Yeah,
what was it?
I think it was about puppets. I was always a fan of Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And then when the Muppet Show came along, because I'm a first generation Muppet Show watcher, it blew my mind. And the thing that blew my mind and really made me the most interested in it was that every once in a while, you could see, like, in the very bottom of the corner, you see somebody's head, or in the sub sleeve of the puppet, you'd see, like, the sub sleeve. It would come quite really up into shot, and I knew something was going on below that frame, and I wanted to figure out what it was. So there was that book, the Muppets and Men book, and I saw that book from the library, and I wanted to make puppets. And so I had puppets, like that picture that you put up there, but also I just wanted to I didn't want to make them. I wanted to have the end product so I could entertain kids with them.
Right. Remember that phrase below the frame. You might want to use it at some point.
Yeah, I should.
Oh, yeah. But so Gene, do you relate to that idea that when you were watching Sesame Street, were you curious about what was going on below, or were you more about how do I create that visual?
Because occasionally you'd see stills, of them reaching up and the sets way above their heads and things. So, all that curiosity was there immediately.
Yeah, and I think I was thinking, like, well, somebody's doing that, so I can do that. And I would entertain the kids in my neighborhood. My dad built me a stage.
Oh, wow.
For my brother and I, whom I made puppeteer, made him do shows with me. And we'd do shows for, like, church and the PTA, and literally in our yard, we took cardboard boxes and, like, ladders and other things and made, like, a really long stage on the side of our house. And we would do, pop up, and I don't remember what we did, but we would use a combination of, like, the Muppet puppets we had and then the puppets that I had made out of T-shirts and masking tape.
So once you kind of set out to make puppets and explore what all that was, that world, did you just continue on with that, even though you were an actor and you decided to do plays in school? I know that's your kind of passion as an actor as well. But was that a constant, the puppets?
It was until about 9th grade. And then in 9th grade, I was in a talent show, and I had my puppets, and we'd written a show, and my brother had now gone off to do his own thing, and I had a couple of my friends who were in 9th grade with me. We did a talent show and we won. And I remember hearing, among the applause, "Woo," because we won. And it really affected me. It really hit hard. And I put the puppets away.
Wow.
I wasn't, I didn't want that. I didn't like that feeling. And so I put them away. And I decided, for some reason, my mom was like, well, you need to be doing something creative. So she signed me up for acting classes at this children's theater called Theater for Young America, and it's in Kansas City, where I grew up. And I took acting classes there, and I was around all of these people that were like me. They were creative. They were interested in creating characters like this, and they kind of became my tribe, my people.
Yeah.
And so I was becoming an actor.
Do you still think of that moment, that booing moment, when you're, like, on the stage at O2 and things like that?
No, I mean, I'm grateful for that moment, just because it I think it
took you in a new direction too.
It did. It took me in a very valuable direction, because I really think that acting is a just as essential as the manipulation part of puppetry.
Yeah.
And so without that moment and without that decision by my mom to say, we need to get him into these acting classes, I don't know. I don't know where I'd be. So I went to college to be an actor, and that's what I did. And every once in a while I would bring out some puppets that I had made and like entertain at the freshman, icebreaker and stuff like that. And did it throughout college a little bit during the summers to make money. But it was not something that I ever was like, this is my career.
Right.
I thought, I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to move to New York and be an actor.
Yeah.
And so we did. We moved to New York to be an actor, both my wife, Kelly, and myself. And
so so you guys were together before you moved to New York? You were?
Yes. Yeah. We met in college.
Oh,
we were college sweethearts.
Right.
And then moved to New York in 1994. The end of 1994.
How did she feel about that, going to the big city?
We were ready. Yeah, we were ready to do it. Yeah. We had spent about a year.
She's amazing, by the way.
I know.
Sorry, I just want people to know you have an amazing wife. I know you know it, but
I don't think I've ever met Kelly.
Oh, really?
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I try to keep her away from you, though. Sorry.
Right.
No offense.
But you're okay with her being around me, huh?
Oh yeah. It's totally cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all those flowers I send just get returned?
I could take them.
He gets them. Yeah.
Sorry.
So right, but what was it? Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. So, and we're kind of similar in this way. I think people who are part of the Muppets and do what we do come from different places. Some come from design backgrounds. You started off curious about the puppets, but then went towards the acting. I started off as acting and headed into the puppets, even though at a young age, Gene influenced me and got me to do things with him. If it weren't for him, I would have no idea of probably exploring either one. But we both agree that I think, and Frank has said this too, that you need to have a strong acting base, right? That to support these characters. Otherwise, they've got no meaning. They've got no soul.
Yeah,
right?
and I think there's a little bit of you can only get so far on instinct. I think. I mean, I think maybe some people can get there all the way, but I do think it helps to have a background, a knowledge of character and creating character, just as much as it helps to have to be in a workshop and learn how to do proper lip sync and how your hand needs to move.
Side.
All that stuff, I think, is really essential to build up those skills on both sides of the line.
Dave Goelz is a phenomenon because he's always been curious about character and people, and you know what I mean? That's his curiosity, how people tick.
Yes. And that's how he gets in, I think.
Yeah. That's how he finds his way in. And he's just kind of a natural born talent where his characters are rooted no matter what, because that's just who he is. Right.
Yeah, I agree.
But our training certainly has helped us, I think.
Yeah. And I don't think you have to do it. I just think that it sure helps. It really helps because you're seeing it like more of the overview of it, and you're given tools to start to create things rather than just guessing and going, I don't know, is this right?
Yeah. And I think one of those big tools that you and I both, and I think I noticed it with you a lot, is listening. And I think people don't realize how important listening is when you're acting. People think it's about what they're saying and what they're doing, as opposed to what I'm hearing and what I'm reacting to. Right?
Yes, it's so much about listening, and then and that influences your reaction. That makes your reaction. It can help make your see, Gene. Yeah, it can help you get something in your ear. It can help make your response valid, more valid and true. Yes, just by listening.
Yeah.
Some people have actually just said acting is listening. Yeah.
Oh,
not directly.
Who says that?
No, I honestly.
I know. You're right. Absolutely. Well, that's Stanislavski, and then through Meisner, that's what it's all about. It's about listening from moment to moment. That's what he was all about, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some of your influences, though. Gene, can we look at 4?
Number 4?
No,
sure.
sorry. Let's look at 3. Let's look at 3.
Yeah, 3. 3. I was going to say 4.
I was going to say 3. Yeah, let's start with 3. Because
Right,
I think this man was an influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my dad there with my kids.
Yes. Look at that. Those beautiful kids.
Yeah. That was
the only person missing is your beautiful wife in this shot. But
that's
it was
right.
a great shot of your dad. I wanted to.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I love that picture. That was at my dad's lake house. You know, I think 2014 probably.
Yeah. And I mean, we, again, something in common. Our dads are gone, but at least you got to see all of your kids, right?
Yeah, he did, and he got to spend time with even Flynn, who's the youngest there, and yeah, and he was a big supporter of mine and my brother too, with whatever we were interested in. You know, he grew up on a farm in northwestern Missouri, or Missouri, as he said.
Missouri.
Yeah, and he's you know, he grew up working on a farm, and then he moved down to the big city, Kansas City, and he started a business with his brother, his older brother, my uncle, whose name is Gene.
Oh,
yep. And
what kind of business?
So it was like a chemical business, a chemical packaging business. So they would do things, anything from industrial chemicals like muriatic acid. They would bottle it and put it in, you know, for companies, to fish, like chemicals that you could clean fish tanks with.
Oh, wow.
And anything in
fish
between.
off. I think it's called fish off.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Fish away.
Yeah, that's it. That's right. It sounds like something that would get rid of the fish, but
it's not.
Right. It cleans the fish tanks. Yeah. And so he would do anything in between there, and but he would build the machines. So he would build the bottling machines.
What a brain.
But he had no real engineering training. Not really. He kind of learned it on his own through observation, but yeah, he built my stage for me twice, 2 stages that he built for me when I was a kid. And
cool.
He was always there. Any show that I did at Theater for Young America or for school or whatever, he and my mom, always there. Huge supporters. Any game we had, if we played soccer, both my brother and I, my parents were always there. They were a mainstay.
Nice.
Was this fella another big influence of yours?
Now,
who's that?
I don't know who that is. No.
The guy on the right? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that is Mr. Jerry Nelson. And that is up at his place on the Cape. And yeah.
What are you, 10 here?
12? I do look very young.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know, you know, that's me pretending to hold a guitar like I know what the heck I'm doing. But Jerry was so great. He was just such a great guy. And I'm up at his house there. Kelly and I were up at his house. He had said we were shooting Sesame Street, and he was like, "Hey, this summer, do you and Kelly want to come up and we'll do this show? I'm doing this show at this local performance art center, and I'd love for you and Kelly to come up. We'll write the show. You can do some puppet stuff, and I'll like narrate a story, and then we'll play some music." And so that's what we did. And, you know, we stayed at Jerry's place and hung out with him for a week, and it was it was great. It was so great. Yeah. At one point we did go to the Hunt house. They have a house there as well. The Richard Hunt's family has a house there as well. And so we stayed like one night there, and it was amazing.
He's man, a phenomenal man. Crazy cool cat, man.
Yeah, he was. And amazing. You know, I did a lot of right-handing for him with the Count over the years, a lot, or whatever character he was playing, but usually it was the Count. And then after a while, when he got a little ill, he wasn't as able to lift his arm above his head.
And the breathing. The breathing and be able to.
That was all part of it. Yeah, and he was on oxygen. Yeah. And I think it was Jerry or Kevin, I'm not sure who, but was like, so Jerry, why don't you sit off to the side over there, and we'll put some headphones on Matt, and Matt will put the puppet on, and you just do the lines live, which was amazing.
Wow.
It was so
great. I don't know how you did that.
Yeah.
We were so, I don't know, we more than any other performer that I've done that with live, because I've done it with Carol too. I did it with Carol for a while, and it wasn't quite as smooth. It just didn't work as well all the time. But
your rhythms were more similar to Jerry. Your rhythms, your timing and your sense of I know that I had that feeling with. It's interesting. I don't mean to cut your story off and make it about me, but just real quick, when we did Dinosaurs, Dave Goles and I started off doing Earl, and we were in sync, right? And we had the same kind of sense of humor, and we agreed on the character. But when Mac Wilson came on, it was just, I know that feeling what you're talking about. It's kind of seamless. It's nanoseconds of what they're going to say, even how they're going to react in the moment without planning it. It's right. Isn't that the feeling you're talking about?
It is. Yeah. And it just depends on who the performer is. And we don't generally do that kind of live throwing of a voice and catching it like that. We obviously prefer to be in the character so we can make it move how we want it to move and sound how we want it to sound. And but it was just, I just felt so connected to him, and I could hear him breathe in my ears. I could hear him, and I just knew like it was time to go. And it just felt, like riding a very comfortable bike.
Well, let's talk about the characters that you do and vocally, it's amazing. So you're working that close with him, and that you are in the vocal range with him and others too. It's not like he's the only one, but with Jerry, right? It's Floyd. Uncle Deadly, which you've really turned into your own guy.
Yeah, he was not. Right? He was never developed that much, in the back in the Muppet Show days. He was just kind of a phantom of the theater, and then he was in a couple of vaudeville sketches, but he was always the bad guy.
Right.
And Jerry did kind of his John Carradine voice, which was that kind of big, rich voice, and so that's kind of what I took from that.
And created this amazing personality. He's grown so much. He's so amazing. But who else with Jerry? The Count, Floyd, Deadly.
On Sesame Street, Mr. Johnson, who's Fat Blue.
Mr. Johnson. I wasn't sure if you were doing him. Yeah.
I've done Sherlock Hemlock on Sesame Street for something, which is another one. And then Lou Zealand, Crazy Harry.
Oh, Lou. Oh, my God. That's right.
There's somebody else.
Just about
Dr.
Jerry. Strange Pork.
Yeah, I mean,
Robin for a while. You
did Robin? Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, I don't think that I'm a vocal match for any of the characters that I play. I'm definitely not a vocal match. I think I'm a performance match, or I think it's the character. I think it's something about the character, and I think I'm close with some of them. The closer that it gets to the actual person's real speaking voice, the farther that distance is, in making it sound alike. But I feel like I've got the characters, like I know the characters and how they work.
Well, let's talk. I'd love to just talk about. Sorry, Gene. I don't mean to dominate. I just want to ask him something here. But
I'm going to go over here.
Oh yeah, all right. Take care.
That's probably.
Let me know when you want to come back.
I'll listen for a while.
Okay.
All right. So about vocal matches. So I don't think I'm necessarily a vocal match guy either. I think I come close, and then I'm trying to find the energy and the attitude and the essence or the inner soul of that character.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm going to, here it comes. People have been messing with you about Kermit.
Yeah.
And I hear things and I read things.
I try not to.
Well, but they're bringing up something that is interesting, because there's a whole generation that became used to Steve, right? Yep. And I'm probably, I'm preaching to the choir here, but I'm just saying it really more for people to hear it, which is that when Steve first started doing Kermit, it was the same thing, right? So people have certain expectations and needs for the vocal aspect of it. They need to, whatever they've been used to audio-wise is very important to them. And the fact that you have gone back to the Jim, for me, what sounds more like Jim's Kermit, it's thrown people, and they're going, wait a minute, wait, what? I don't, it's not. And I think in all fairness, you embody the essence of the character just like Steve did, but vocally, it's a little different,
Yeah, I mean, and that was all part of the directive. We had, after Steve and Disney parted ways,
right?
There was an audition process, and that audition process was whittled down to 4 people, and those 4 people, there he is right there, and those 4 people were in workshops with Brian Henson, you know, and he told us he would give us, he would not mess around. He would, when we were got up and do things, he would then say, you know, make it sound a little bit more. One of the phrases he uses was ooey gooey. Right. So my dad always sounded more ooey gooey, kind of make it, chew the words a little more and make it feel
a little more playful, a little more.
Yeah. And so that was kind of the directive that we were told to go in.
Well, I think you're doing phenomenal. I think he's amazing. And I think the more you do it, the more amazing he's going to be. And because he's great now, but I think you're going to get more comfortable. And then just like we do with our characters that we've been doing now for a period of time, a part of you then becomes a part of them, but you're staying true and you're staying honest to who the character is and the integrity of that character, right?
Yeah, I think that's important. And, you know, I've got people around me that worked with Jim. And all of us worked with Steve, and I've got Dave worked with Jim, and he's you know, told me things and kind of given me
that's where I got my stuff too. Yeah.
Right. You know, he Frank, kind of Dave. Just gives it to you. It's so good to have somebody that's still connected to the original group. That's
like Dave would tell me Dr. Teeth, when Jim would do Dr. Teeth, he would literally do this.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. When you do that, you totally do that with your face.
I do. That's what because if I don't do this, then it just sounds like Ralph. But when I go here, and then it becomes a little more Southern, that's, you know, what Dave taught me was to do the grin.
That's so great. You know, he also said for me, for Floyd, he said, you just got to be louder. Just be louder. He's like, if you're not loud, he's like, everybody, those guys were so loud. Jerry, Richard, and they were all so loud all the time. Floyd is so loud. Zoot, not loud. But, you know, so he was trying to differentiate between me and he.
Hey, fellas, what do you say we play a game of pick a number?
Hey, Matt, do you know what pick a number is?
I do not. I'm going to guess that I pick a number, but I don't know what happens when I do.
That's it.
You're right. Great head start.
Yeah.
That's all you got to know.
What you pick a number, and we're going to show you an image. And if you want to comment, feel free to comment.
632.
No. Okay. You don't get the game at all. It's between 1 and 16 today.
1 and 16. Okay. Let's go with 7.
Oh,
7 people in my family.
How about this one?
7 people in your family.
Yep. Oh, yes. That's Chris Cooper and Uncle Deadly and Bobo. I had such a great time doing the Uncle Deadly Bobo stuff, man. I wish we've talked about this before, Bill, but we had so much. We were just fun. Feel like we were talking during the scene or just making little comments that were definitely not helpful to the drive of the scene, but they sure were fun.
Or Chris. I remember Chris would look over like, what are they doing? They're just having these little things.
You know what I just remembered about this is that when we were shooting this movie, Chris Cooper said, I got word. Chris wants you in his trailer. I was like, oh, okay. All right. So I went over and we just talked. He's like, I just want to go through the scene with you and just kind of talk this through. And we talked it through, and he was so sweet and kind and very generous, and, but to be called to Chris Cooper's trailer, it's like, what's he going to say?
And, he was such a sweet man too. He had lost his son recently. Oh. And so he was going through some of that, and he had written a book about him. I think that had just come out. Yeah. He was such a nice man.
You said that was happening during filming, you're saying? That he just lost his son then?
No, before the filming, but it hadn't been too long because he had written a book about it. And I think the book had just come out, or it was coming out. But yeah, he was grieving at that time. But man, what a great actor.
He was great. So he had so much fun. Mm-hmm. He really did enjoy. I think he enjoyed being there and being around a bunch of us knuckleheads.
Yeah, for sure.
Fun.
Pick a number.
Pick a number. I'm going to pick 14 because that's 14. Twice 7.
Number 14. Okay. Oh,
right.
Here we Interesting.
Here we go.
Oh, okay. This is from the ABC Muppets show. And this is back behind the band shell where the Electric Mayhem played. And we had this thing, and it says right there, it reminded me, I couldn't remember the name of it. It's called the Pit Club. And
you came up with this, didn't you? Didn't this your idea?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think, we all were down there, and we did. Yeah, we had, like, Dave was the president of the Pit Club. I think I was the secretary. Steve may have been the treasurer. And so what would happen is whenever we had, David was right next to me. I was like, oh, wait, where was David? Yeah, he was right next to me. He would do it as well. But I think he may have, maybe he was the treasurer. He was the treasurer. I made a mistake. He was the treasurer.
Right.
Steve was the vice president. I'm sure that's what it was.
Right. Probably.
And what would happen is that anytime we would have, and Gene, can you go back to that picture there?
Yeah,
real quick?
Can you leave it up for a minute?
Anytime a guest would come on or visit, because it wasn't just people that were on the show. We had this piece of kind of card there, that kind of card stock, and we would ask them to sign our Pit Club sign. So we'd always look up. So I can see on there Kristen Chenoweth and
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
And Jack White.
Jack McBrayer is there. And Tippi Hedren is there.
Joan Jett.
Yeah, where's Joan Jett? I was looking for her. Oh, there she is. Yeah.
Up top.
And it was just so cool. Everybody was really anybody that came on that show was awesome.
And actually, if it was a guest that was performing out there on the Miss Piggy show stage, you guys would go, here, give them the card. Because I was
you were the guy.
I was the guy, but I was able to get in and out easier because I was at the back
you
of
were
the
behind
show.
us.
You guys were locked in there in a sense. So you were like, here, give them the card. So that I had to go to the card.
Then you were also puppet captain duty. You were outside. You were kind of making sure whatever was going on in there. And then, but you did have the better access to the guest. And we just like
absolutely a lot easier.
With a little Sharpie.
Yeah. I wish I was able to. I wish I was able to record it, but one night I got a FaceTime call from Billy out of the blue, and he was FaceTiming me from the pit, and you guys were all just piled on top of each other. It was the coolest.
It was very, very crowded down there. Yeah. There's another great picture of us like looking down, and somebody took it from above, and we're just like, it's just a sea of heads, and we're all just like, it's so fun.
And because people don't realize too, it's not just you, Rudman, Dave, Steve in that front row. It's you with you and David both having people assisting. So there's literally 6 people just in that front pit.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay. Let's do one more. How about that?
Let's do one more. Let's do 11.
Oh, 11.
I have no reason.
Wonderful
choice. Gonna do 11.
This is from Muppets as well, the series.
Yes. Okay. So that is Camilla, I believe.
Yes.
I think that's Camilla.
Definitely Camilla.
This was in Gonzo and Pepe's house. Was it not this?
Yeah, Gonzo, Rizzo, and Pepe lived together.
Rizzo, Pepe. They lived together, and there were 2 models.
Yes.
So this is the result of a pillow fight, I believe, that the models were having. I think I don't remember exactly. All I know is I'm covered in feathers because of a pillow fight. I believe that the
how often would you ingest a feather while doing your lines and things like that?
Not too often, but it did happen. Absolutely. It has happened. It happened here. It's happened inside Big Bird, where just like the tiniest little sliver of feather, I'll breathe in. And it just goes into it happened. We were doing a show at the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. We were doing that big Christmas show for Sesame Street and live in front of 20,000 people. And I came out and I went, and I was trying not to, like, lines were coming up and it was getting ready to be mine. And I was trying not to because I had little sliver of feather in there, but that was an odd and weird fun day
I think, I was just trying to remember. That was like Gonzo and Pepe, or Pepe and Rizzo were trying to get Gonzo to go out and have fun or something. And Camilla stayed home with her girlfriends. And then the girls had a pillow fight and Camilla got caught in the middle.
She's just there.
Like that.
Yeah.
But just before you go, can we just real quick before Matt has to go, let's do number 6. Matt, I appreciate you staying. This has been awesome.
Wish I could stay longer. Okay. Yes. There is one of my friends and mentors, Carol Spinney, sitting and reading a newspaper in his bird legs, and there is me in my bird legs That's at an Apple TV event. That's what that is. That's out.
Oh, right.
Where that was. But yeah, so, you know, when we're not playing Big Bird, sometimes we're stuck in the pants when we're not on set. That's two.
I love the difference of the medias that you're using.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Carol's reading the paper and I'm, scrolling through Twitter probably.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay, let's finish with this one because I'm sure you'll want to just make a quick comment.
We have to. Yes. Let's talk about Below the Frame.
Oh, okay.
Let's just tell people so they know what's going on and how it's really good. It's been
drawing by the great Dave Holtein, who made the drawing for you, right?
Yes, yeah. We collaborated on that design there, and he's just so great to work with, and it was a fun time, and I love this design. Yeah. And so the podcast, though, is just me sitting down and talking with a Muppet performer or somebody in the Muppet universe from Sesame Street or the Muppets in some way. It could be Wranglers. Could be the workshop. It could be a director, and I kind of just walk them through from their infancy into wherever whatever they are doing now, and then at the end I ask them some quick questions, including a question from Jerry Nelson that he once asked me, which was basically Sesame Street's great, but you always have to have something that you do that is for you, that you create, and what is that thing? You guys are doing this thing right here.
Go back to school to get your law degree, in other words.
whatever, gets you going. Some people have said, well, I make jewelry, something.
What did I say? Do you remember? You don't remember what I said, do you?
Well, I kind of threw a couple things at you. I was like, well, you do your, your show with your brother. That's something that's right. You're like, oh, yeah. And I think I said, and jewels, you've got the jewels thing, and you're like, oh yeah, I got that. But you're always creating something in one way or another. You really are.
Well, I loved it. You're a great interviewer. It was fun to do.
Thanks. Well, you're coming up.
I think people are really liking it. I think people are really enjoying them.
I think so. It's something. You're kind of a fly on the wall in the room with us, and I think it's really fun. And then to me, Kelly was saying that she's like, it's like an oral history. It's something that you'll always have. It's this piece of archival history that you probably haven't had up to this point, which is true.
Right. And Jack, your son, is hysterical.
Yeah. He comes
on. I'm sorry,
on
but it's my favorite. It's my favorite part. I'm sorry, I love you, but
I know. No, he's hilarious. He comes on, and the great thing about it is that off mic, I'm like, Jack, I've got this thing for you. Do you mind coming to do it? He's like, oh yeah, sure, fine, that's fine. He comes in, and then he's like, hey, Dad. He's just like gets into that really dry, over it teenage mode, and he's fantastic. He's a great sport. I'm glad I have him in it.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for doing this.
My pleasure, guys.
All the best. All my love to the family and the boy that I love. Please come.
I will tell him. I will tell Flinny.
Gene, real quick. Number 5. Just as we go out. Number 5 as we go out.
Number 5. We got you.
Number 5.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we've got this great group. We've been able to play together.
Yeah.
And that's it. I love you. I'll see you.
I love you too, buddy.
All right, man.
I love you a little bit too.
All right. I feel strongly about you, but I don't want to say which way yet.
Let's just give a handshake.
All right.
There we go. There you go. All right.
All right,
man.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt. Bye. There he goes.
How cool. What a cool show we've had today.
What a team. They're a great pair.
Yeah.
I mean, they were great on screen and great off screen. It was really great. I love this. I love this show. Hey, this is a good show. I like this show.
You should do more.
Huh. All right.
Thanks for listening. We're a podcast and a vodcast. You can listen or watch the episode.
Just go to theberettabrothers.com. That's BARRETTA brothers.com. Please subscribe, rate us.
And we'd love to hear your comments.
Thank you.